of this fall's energy industry update is everything counts in large amounts. The industry right now is putting forward more and more aggressive goals related to carbon and clean energy. So we're living in a world that everything counts, but having it in large amounts is really important if we want to get to where we've targeted.
The duck curve is an analysis conducted by the California ISO back in 2013. And what it does is it looks at net load and how that changes over time. So the net load, what that is the load served by dispatchable generation. So basically taking out variable wind and solar. And what the California ISO found is that net load over time decreases in the middle of the day with the growing penetrations of solar. What that means, and the implication of that, is that during the middle of the day there's a risk of oversupply because net load goes quite low, and then in the evening when solar is coming off the grid, there's a very steep ramp that must be met by dispatchable generation. For energy industry executives, it's important to understand what exactly is driving the duck curve in case it's going to come to their market, and then also the potential actions that could be taken to avoid the duck curve and or mitigate the duck curve if it does show up. So our theme is everything counts in large amounts, and that is apropos for the duck curve. What's really driving this is utility scale solar, and so as we see more and more utility scale renewables on the grid, the duck curve will remain a really relevant point for the industry.
So about 60% of states have low penetrations of renewables. Utility scale renewables are typically greater than 1 megawatt generating systems that can be connected to the bulk transmission system or to the distributed system. And distributed renewables are typically less than 1 megawatt generating systems that can be connected front of the meter to this distributed system or also behind the meter on the customer premises. ScottMadden came up with the Four Quadrants in order to kind of plot out where different states are in the renewable energy deployment stages. That's helpful for them to see where they stand and to see what kind of strategies they should be pursuing in the future, whether it be to leverage their existing renewable assets or to pursue further installation of renewable energy assets. So with the four quadrants that we've identified, you can figure out where you stand as a state or organization and kind of what your next steps are to pursue, whether that it means reaching out to other utilities or reaching out to us for help in that process.
Energy and metals markets are a relatively new concept, so they were popularized by the California ISO in the West. What these markets were designed to do is to improve the integration of renewables into the grid. So what you had is a lot of renewables that were being potentially curtailed because they didn't have a place for that energy to go. So the California ISO designed this new market where non-participants, people that weren't in the market, could participate in this market and share renewable energy and integrate more renewable energy into the region. There actually are some financial and operational benefits to them too. Financial because you are now able to access lower, cheaper cost resources as well as more environment-friendly resources. And the operational benefits are you are able to balance your grid better because you have access to a wider pool of resources. So ScottMadden is a subject matter expert in energy markets in general. We monitor closely these offerings that are being provided. We understand deeply what it takes for companies to join. We understand why companies should look at entering a market, what the financial implications might be, probably more importantly, how they need to evolve and change their internal operations to best perform in this market.
This energy industry update's important because we hear so much in the trade press from so many voices about the advantages of DERs versus large-scale renewables versus CCUS. We give you the facts and then let you as an executive make the decision about what's best for you and your team.